Our next guest, Fremantle's Head of Player Personnel, David Walls, joins us because trade time is right on our doorstep.
Doesn't he step up at this time of year?
The draft not too far away. David, appreciate your time. Good morning.
No worries. Thanks for having me. Good to hear from you, Tim and Scotty.
Yeah, likewise. How active are you going to be? What are you going to do with your list and what's going to happen with Fremantle over the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, we're not going to be big players in this year's trade or draft. So, on the back of last year where we had quite significant change both through the trade period and draft, this year will be a nice year to be able to bed it down and have the list mature together. So, obviously we've got Liam Henry, who's requested a trade to the Saints. So we've got to work through that. But yeah, we've been pretty minimal with delistings, and I think we'll only have 3 picks in the national draft, so it'll be quite a light year.
Oh, doesn't really sound like you're doing much then, Wolsey. What have you been doing all year?
Well, I think after last year, when we had the 8 players, sort of 5 out, 3 in, I thought I'd better put the feet up for 12 months.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, mate, you're always going to be asked a question, and we have to ask a question too. We spoke about it yesterday with Mick Ablett. Sean Darcy, is there any way, shape or form that he wouldn't be at your football club next year?
No, I think he's definitely going to be at Fremantle next year. No question at all about that. I think we're working through an extension for him. He's obviously going to be a free agent at the end of next year. We've started discussions, and every conversation we've had and every indication and behaviour from Sean, his manager, his family, all indicates he's in for the long haul. So I'm confident that we'll be able to get it done, but we're still early stages of the extension. But yeah, he'll be with us next year for sure.
Well, we see Aaron Norton's signed a 24-year deal with the Western Bulldogs, so Sean Darcy must be keen, looking forward to playing until he's 45 down at Fremantle. But on a serious note in regards to that, Wolsey, where did the story emanate from? Because, I mean, there is so much chatter, and it's not just media chatter. Everyone goes, the media's driving this. There are people who know people who know people, and you know the footy industry better than most. Why is there chatter about Sean Darcy's tenure at Fremantle? Why will it not go away?
I think maybe the combination of Luke Jackson coming in and seeing him as a ruck, and then also the fact that Sean's from, I guess, Western District of Victoria. He lived at Geelong, played at Geelong Falcons, and I guess there's been perceived that they need a ruckman. So I think people just linking the two, but honestly, even his family say the same thing to me. They live in Barwon Heads, and they say they get stopped every day on the street, asking about Sean and what he's doing, and is he moving back to Victoria? And yeah, it's hard to put a finger on, but I'd put it down to those two things.
Well, with Luke Jackson, has it changed has your mentality or your thought process changed on where his best football is? Because there's no doubt at all he came in, and I'm assuming you were hoping that he was going to be a forward, or that he was going to come in and fix the holes that was in that forward line. Now, that appears that, well, one, he doesn't want to be a forward, and two, that's not going to work, and he's much, much better in the ruck. So has it changed the whole thought process of your list and the handling of Sean Darcy and Luke Jackson?
Not really. Luke's happy to play anywhere. Like he's happy, and I think he wants to play everywhere at once too. So he's happy to play, go in the ruck, be a midfielder, just do what he needs to do. But even look at like champion data, and they track game time. Sean rucked had more time in the ruck in the games he played this year than any other season he's had previously. So it didn't impact Sean's ruck time, and we're just going to try to keep them on the ground a little bit longer as well, shorter rotations and less interchange time, so that game time's up. But I really see and saw growth in Luke with his forward craft. I think he's just going to take that to another level too. And I think you just see in games, you do need those 199, 200 centimetre key forwards, 100 kilo, that can take, the Sam Taylors, the Wiederinks, like these monsters down back. And we're really excited and confident in what Jai Amos and Josh Tracy are doing as young key forwards. But they're key forwards that are 194, 195. I think having Luke down there for that long entry, bail-out kick to give a real contest and then be good at ground level and put pressure on is just invaluable. So I just see him, and we saw it in the Sydney game throughout the year. when the three of them were in the same forward line and it clicked just where it's going. And I think another summer of working together and cohesion, we'll see further improvements from that forward line.
Some quick fire ones for you, Wolsey. Will Brodie, 3 years to run, I'm led to believe, on a contract, played a lot at Peel, did some really good things down at Peel, couldn't break into the team towards the end. You're not the coach, so selecting him is not your issue. Has there been any talk and any phone calls from anyone about somehow getting Will Brodie out of Fremantle to a club where he will play AFL football?
No, there hasn't. Well, we still expect Will to play a lot of footy for us in those next 3 years. And I think it's an important summer for him to, obviously had a big first year with us, and then came back in pre-season 2, a few niggles and interruptions. And I think he's a player that needs a full pre-season, that he'll have his break, but he'll come back in really good shape, big summer, and I'm sure he'll be back in the team next year.
And Joel Hamling's the other, who's got a year being offered. I'm led to believe Sydney are believed to be keen to get him there. What's your vibe today in regards to the future of Joel Hamling at Freo?
I heard from his manager, Colin Young, last night, so he said that we'll have an answer today. He's got a bit to work through. We've got an offer on the table for him. Would love Joel to continue his footy with us. But yeah, he's got a few things to weigh up and look at and see if he can, find, extra security and I guess also opportunity as well. He's played a fair bit of footy down at Peel the last 2 years. So I think he's just looking at all his options. I think ideally he'd like to stay at Fremantle, but he needs to look at what's out there, based on what's gone on the last couple of years.
So did Colin Young ask you for an extra year for Joel Hamling to shore that up and to stave off Sydney? Is that sort of how that conversation went last night?
He hasn't asked.
I love his short, sharp answers. Means I don't want to answer that one. Piss off, Goss.
I did ask for a short
Hey, do you find you said you're not going to be busy, obviously, in trade period or you have your draft picks, but you're trying to obviously get down the order a little bit with your draft picks, maybe through the use of Liam Henry?
Yeah, we'll explore everything. But yeah, you're spot on. Like you just want to get, as early a pick as you possibly can get. We've actually just come from Lygon Street after a meeting with SOS, so we're early days in the negotiation. But yeah, that's a real goal of ours, is to push up the order and try to just keep adding quality to the list. So we've invested heavily in Liam, right from a young age. Like guys like Tendai Mzungu and Roger Hayden did a great job, from the age of 15 developing Liam. And after 43 games in 4 years, it's like he's done his apprenticeship and he's just starting to mature as a player. And we saw that in the back half of the year. So, we're really disappointed to lose him. We think he's a quality player, and we're just got to make sure that we get value for him, and something that we can use to be compensated. So, and like you mentioned, getting up the order is high on the list.
I imagine that does tick you off. And good to see Sauce still doing deals on Lygon Street too. He's just stays in his home ground where he does his best work. Hey, Wolsey, what do you need? What do you need more than anything out of this draft?
I reckon really what we'd love to be adding is talent in the front half. I feel like, rucks, mids, the back line sorted, but it's just keep adding talent in the front half, whether it key position, but also mid-size, smalls. Just guys are pretty dynamic that can hit the scoreboard. So I think you see that in the grand final with Bobby Hill and types like that. Just players that can create and hit the scoreboard, and those highly talented front half players is what we've got our eyes on.
Did you hover around Aaron Norton a little bit, and this probably sped up the Bulldogs' long signing of Norton? We made light of it earlier, or I made light of it earlier in the conversation. But did you inquire about him? I mean, he goes into free agency next year. Did you have him on your radar, and has that sort of been snuffed out now? Yeah, absolutely. Andrew McDougall, the corporate sports is his manager. We're always asking questions about the West Australians and obviously the quality ones and their situation and the possibility of getting them back to WA. So we had basically from day one been monitoring North, but
yeah, as it progressed, and really the last 6 months, they sort of started to make it clear that they thought that he'd stay at the Western Bulldogs. So there was a period there where I think, he was thinking about it. And, when you sign this contract, it's like our guys and Sean Darcy. When you sign the first one or two, you're really on an adventure at that stage of your career. But when you're 25 and then you're signing for these 6 or 8 year contracts, that's when you become a West Australian or a Victorian. So yeah, when it went quiet the last 6 months, we knew that that Aaron was pretty committed to the Bulldogs.
And last one, any conversation about Clayton Oliver? And we all say that if he leaves, there's 5 clubs keen on him. Adelaide are the front runners. They look like can do the best deal. It looks like you probably don't have any chips on the table to regards to get him, but would you even entertain the thought?
How good would he make Brayshaw and Sarong?
Yeah, it's obviously he's a quality player. When you look at his resume, it's as good as anyone at his age. But look, everything came yesterday as a surprise. We've caught up with Melbourne, caught up with Clayton's manager. Nothing had ever been mentioned, so we haven't had a conversation at all. But as far as I know, he's a Melbourne player and will be staying there. Based on the conversations we've had. But yeah, you explore everything, that's for sure.
Very good. Hey, mate, appreciate your time. Always very open and honest. All the very best trying to get up that draft order and get something done for Liam Henry. Thanks for joining us.
No worries. Appreciate it.